Right, I'm going to go ahead and finish assembling everything here, and on the previous video I worked with the transmission. Now I never removed these, so those are there. I never shifted this, so I don't have to worry about mesh. So I'm going to begin now. I'm going to drop this plate in, right in here, perfect. And now I'm going to set one of these in here. And give me a moment. I just need to line up the teeth. That's really all I'm doing. So I'm holding it this way. And the reason why I'm holding it this way is so that I can struggle. No, I'm kidding. Let me just shift this up. There we go. I'll show you once I flip it. There we go. I was just trying to line up these teeth so that this would just slide through. You want to make sure that this friction pad sits flush within those cavities. If you wanted to, you could glue it on. That's up to you. That's the way the Traxxas TRX is. Those things are just glued on. Here we go. Perfect. Now, one of the things that you will notice about this shaft is two ends are flat, so this just keys in. Here we go. I'm going to drive this in. Now let's see. Actually, I'm going to drive this in and then back it out because this was way too loose. I think that's why you kept hearing that the slipper when you went full speed. I'm going to back it out 2 turns. Yeah, when I removed it, it was way too loose. I think that'll be much better. So I'll just let them know that it's 2 turns. This thing was, I don't know, maybe 4 turns out. It was really far out. All right, here we go. At this point, I can go ahead and put the dust cover. Dust cover is something you need to run on these transmissions, and the reason why is because you have a 48 pitch, and just a grain of sand will destroy your gears. So do not run it without the dust cover. Unless you're running in a super clean surface, a properly prepped surface with absolutely no, but then again, if you're running on dirt, there's dirt. You're gonna have something. There's only so much you can do to clean dirt. But carpet, for example, you couldn't get away with it. All right, that is it. We have this. Now we're gonna take this rear section, and this rear section, so the motor goes toward you, the gears go away from you, and then this is where the motor goes. And there we go. All right, that will key in. And then the long screw will go in through here. So it's really not, what holds the screw in is really not much. It's just a few millimeters. That's all that holds the screw inside. Now these 2 small screws, these are the ones that go up here at the top. Can't seem to aim it right, and I don't want to put my head into the camera. There we go. All right. And that's it. Those are the 3 screws that hold this on. At this point, I can go ahead and just do the entire lower section. And for this lower section, you don't have to install these yet because the shock tower is not on. Well, the links are not on. It's really because of the links. I just realized I left the links on the chassis, not on the shock tower. And this will slide it. Now, before you slide this in, make sure that those 2 screws are on, because then you're going to have to remove this. All right. There we go. So these are the 2 screws that holds this back part, so I can go ahead and attach it. I didn't have to do it this way. When I disassembled it, I did not disassemble it this way, but this is one of the ways that you can reassemble. Now, let's see, it's 2. I was going to show you something. Let me go ahead and show you. So I'll remove this real quick. You need to make sure that these blocks, so those 2 blocks, are lined up correctly and that your spacers are there. If those spacers are not there, these arms are just going to flop. And you also need to make sure that screw is there to hold this in place. So that's really it. I guess I could have just spoken about it instead of actually disassembling this. Again, it's not lining up. Oh, there we go. Now it is. And go. And that is it. So now I can actually put the shafts in here. And they may fall out, so don't worry about it too much. All right, remember long screws are these screws, the short screws are these outer screws. And I will go ahead and make these 2. And these will key in. Now, because I put that rear plate, that's why I am now having to sort of wedge this in, lift the plastics and move it. But that is it. It is in there, it is good. I'm going to go ahead and flip it. Actually, I can install these top screws now if I wanted to. I'm going to work with the bottom though. All right, so I have this screw that will hold it in place. And because I flipped everything, didn't put the links, the shafts came out, but oh well. All right. It's close, but not quite all the way. I'm doing that on purpose. This one's not. There we go. And now we'll go with a shorter one. All right, let's go with the other one. And we'll go with this one. this one. So now I'm going to tighten them all the way. As that is it, I'll flip this over again. I'm going to put the shafts back in place. And now this one will snap on. And this one I actually removed with my driver, so I'm going to go ahead and use my driver again, but I need to make sure that the shaft is in there properly. And I'm going to flip this over because I need to make sure I put it in the center. Normally I would not hold the vehicle this way, but it's just for the camera. Next thing you know, I'm out of view completely. Alright, let's try that. And there we go. I'll set this down. And now I just need these 2 screws. Now, if you're watching this and you do not have RCs yet and you're planning on getting into RCs, one of the things that I am going to mention is the following. Get a quality RC. It's better for you to save up and buy a quality RC than for you to just buy a cheap RC. And the reason why is if you get a quality RC, you're more likely going to enjoy it. Whereas if you were to buy a cheap RC, you may end up having so many problems, you're going to end up quitting because of the frustration. Or you may just regret your purchase, but then you'll be out of a budget to get the quality RC that you should have gotten in the first place. So that's something to think about. All right. Now we just have the rear shock tower. Okay, that's the screw for the shock right over here. I'm gonna go ahead and install the other shock. So once the screw's in and you've driven that nut in, this little cap will go on top. The shock will go over it, and then the other nut will go. And remember, these are 5.5 millimeter nuts. And the screw's a 2 millimeter driver. And snug is all you need, do not over tighten this. All right. Now, the long screws, there's 4 of them. One of them I left here. That will go right in there. Actually, no. These, it's the 2 short ones and then this one. And there we go. I'm going to take this one out. Well, I don't have to. That one's pretty stuck in there. All right. There we go. Now the 2 long countersunk screws, those are going to hold the body mount to the shock tower. Those are those 2 long ones that I moved, I put out of the way. So for the shock tower, the 2 long ones are going to go toward the rear. So I'm doing one of the longer ones. So this is the size difference. The shorter one goes in the front. I'm just going to drive it close and all the way in. So short one in the front. And long one in the rear. And here we go. Now I'm tightening all of them. And I'm going to do the spring at the end. I want to go ahead and connect the shocks. So the shocks, I don't remember what position these were in. They were on the inner position. I'll go ahead and keep them on the inner position. And again, do not over tighten anything. Snug is all you need. And the only thing you do less than snug are those retaining screws on the arms for the pins. Yeah, but getting started in the hobby, I think one of the worst things that can happen is you over tighten something, you damage a part, and then you go to the shop and they don't have the part. Or even if they have the part, the fact that you have to go to the shop because of something simple that you could have prevented by not over tightening. All right, so now we get to do the spring. Here in the back, the body mount. And these are the last two screws. Now, if you watch my teardown videos on an SR10, they're really the same vehicle. The SR10 just has shorter arms. The SR10 is a buggy. It's just the buggy version. This is the short course, but everything is essentially the same. Just the short course is going to have a longer tub, longer arms, longer links. But transmission is the exact same. Steering setup is the exact same. If you watch that video, one of the things that you noticed is on my friend's SR10, the ESC, the heatsink, actually popped off. So this was broken. I mean, he bashes it hard, like you wouldn't believe. I just used some CA glue to put it back, just kind of glued the corners, and it works fine. It's not overheating or anything. There's enough thermal compound in there to transfer heat and keep it cool. So that's something to note. It's the same ESC as on this short course. So if it happens, just try some CA glue, see how it works. But that is all for this teardown and rebuild of this Team Associated SC. Here we go. Well, I guess I can show you how to do the wheel. So this SC10 Pro2 or Pro2 SC10. So the wheel, just put the wheel in here. You're going to need a 7mm driver. And the wheels should just be snug. Do not over tighten them. You will damage the wheel. I'll just do the one wheel just to keep it short. Once you can do one wheel, you can do them all. And that is it. But thank you very much for watching. I hope these videos have been useful for those of you who get in the hobby, or maybe this is your first RC and you're wondering how to work on certain components. Please subscribe if you have not, and comment below. I'll catch you in the next one.
What? Oh, my hair! My arm! My rod!